Hello and welcome to the Last Arc YouTube channel. Today we're going to be streaming our live reactions to the newest chapter of One Piece, 1086. I actually this time have not read it so far. I've seen the cover page, but I have not read the actual chapter yet. So, the genuine reaction from me this time, for once. But we're gonna be just kind of reading the chapter and streaming it, and then talking about it, obviously, as we go along. My name is Amjin Rakai. I am joined by the always great Straw Hat Lucas. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, guys. I'm Straw Hat Lucas. Welcome to the Last Arc. If you haven't yet, go check out the News Coup chapter review on chapter 1085, and the next episode of that will be out this Sunday. Ooh. So let's go, and I'm going to pass this off to Cube.
What up, what up? As you know, Cube of the Red Sea, captain of the Red Sea Pirates. Also, as everybody here, an important member of the Last Arc, but that's everybody here, and excited for this chapter.
Nice. I am too. I'm trying to find the live right this second. It's not coming up on the Last Arc channel. Oh, I see it.
I had to refresh it. Yeah, I'm saying I had to refresh it to get it to come up.
Yeah, for some reason it's showing up after last week's one, but who knows about all that? I have it open to try to see chats if they come across. If they don't, great. If they do, thank you. But we'll have that going as well. Perfect. Aside from double page spreads, it should work out with the layout. But yeah, let's get into it. Like I said, I have not read this one. I'm assuming have you guys read it so far?
I did a quick read through at work, but other than that, I haven't really delved into it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, usually I did look at the raws, but I have not actually read the chapter. So to me, that counts as the closest it's gonna get.
Yeah.
So okay, so we'll start the chapter. It's got a cool cover of the Show and Jump page. I like this Kobe, Luffy, and Garp cover. Looks pretty nice. Oops.
Oh, yeah. That color spread is killer. I know it's not technically a color spread, but it looks great.
Well, this next page is a cover spread with the cover request by Crazy Downey. Chopper and a kitty crossing the reflection of a rainbow they see in a puddle. And we get the no rain, no rainbow thing here. Also, so I'm colorblind. You'll have to tell me. Is Luffy's hair in this reflection green?
It slightly looks like it, but could just be an artistic choice.
Yeah, I'm really thinking it's a Zoro choice. And considering that Usopp right here completely covers up Nami's eyes in the reflection, I think this all might be super relevant. As well as, of course, we've all seen Mary Poppins. The magical wand in Mary Poppins is a umbrella. So I think all that being here, I think this cover is pretty huge.
Definitely some deeper meanings behind it.
True. Because there's no Zoro, no Jinbei, and we even get a Den Mushi for some reason on Chopper's head. Seems like it's looking at Nami for some reason. But yeah, super cool cover. We can come back to this. Or what?
Yeah, sorry. Oh, I said Smokey's in the chat. Yeah.
Oh, here, let me. Oh, yeah. Like the stream if you guys can. I think I already did, but yeah. Thank you, Cuddy Flam. Oh, hey, Cuddy Flam for joining. And Terrible TJ, as always. Thank you so much. Moving on to, I guess, the next page. Here, in Lucas, I thought this was an interesting note for you. Oda, in the author's note this week, said, it's funny, I was working behind the scenes on the live-action adaptation long before production even began on some of the movies I helped with, like film Red and Stampede. So that's a good sign with the live action.
Oh, yeah. He's been to set several times. He was part of all the auditions and everything. So I still have faith in it. I have a lot of faith in it. I'm getting nervous now that we're getting closer to the teaser trailer coming out in the next week or so. So it's
True.
but I'm still very hopeful.
Which we will definitely be doing a stream whatever day that comes out. We'll be doing a
Yes.
live, even if it's just Lucas and I doing a stream on the live action.
Yes.
Adam, don't worry, guys. You also have me. You'll also have me. I'm very curious. Very curious. Don't worry.
No,
And
I
I'm gonna say
meant
this, and I
whatever
wanna do a
whoever's
review.
available that day, we'll be all hands on deck to go over that stream. So keep in mind that people that are watching the stream and all that stuff, because we will be doing that. Well, it comes out next week, doesn't it?
The 17th. So we got about 11 days.
Okay.
10 days. We got 10 days. Yeah. The 17th or
Okay.
18th is when we're gonna get it. So.
And I won't lie, I want to see Adam's raw reaction to all of it. I feel like it
I know
could
that
be,
one.
you know.
Yeah, I will try not to. I'll try not to watch before it comes out, so you can get my my pure takes. But okay, jumping into the chapter here.
Yes.
It starts off outside Mary Joa, and so the curtains drew closed on the reverie before the news of King Cobra's murder came to light. And this chapter is called The Five Elder Planets. This is Princess Vivi of Alabasta. Has anyone seen her? I forget the guy's name, but he's the one with the saxophone. He's looking for Vivi. And then it looks like we have Pell, and then that other guy. Where is the king? Has his condition worsened? Trying to talk to Mary Joa Knights. And then all the while, a number of stowaways held their breath as they attempted to escape on various royal vessels. So that's where everyone's going, I guess. Then we see Wapple and Vivi underneath some deck of a ship. Hey, whose ship is this? The Aegeus Kingdoms. So Cypherpole Aegeus, and then there's also a Aegeus Kingdom, which means shield. So I wonder what that could be. But we're on Aegeus's ship Morgan. Gotcha. We'll fly our headquarters over and pretend to look for a scoop. Use that chance to hop aboard, and don't get yourselves caught before then. I owe you one. You got that right. A king somehow became the subject of a manhunt. This is big news. I can't wait to hear all about it. Then we cut back to Vivi. So what exactly did you see in there, Wapple? Like I tell you, leave me alone and go back to your own ship. I can't. CP0 is no joke. Now that they're after me, it won't matter how much everyone tries to help. Those agents won't rest till I'm back in their custody. Now let me borrow your transponder, Snail. I need to talk to my father as soon as possible. He's a total worrywart. He's a dead worrywart now. And anything but that. Get lost already. What's wrong with you? And it looks like this Aegeus Kingdom is some sort of lion ship thing. So
You ready?
yes.
You know, Marineford had a home for Marines. I think whatever Aegis is most likely the origin story of the Cypherpole. It could be where the Cypherpole was first founded.
Interesting. Okay. I like
and
that.
It makes me think of in Naruto, in Konoha, the Uchiha were like the police. If you think about it, we are pretty sure with them, then with our fear about Cypherpoles, that the pole of Cypherpole is from Interpol, which is police. So it could be like the police town initially, and then they became Cypherpole. Like the Uchiha was like the side of the Uchiha side was where the police town was, because they're all cops.
Okay, I like that. It could have to do with Scopper or Copper Gaban too, because Copper originally meant police informant. So it makes me think about that. As well as I'm always drawn to Morgan's ship being a tea kettle. And if you were to put a shield, on the ground, it becomes a plate. So a plate with a tea kettle landing on it, I wonder if that could all be something it's all leaning towards.
That's actually a good point.
Which also, not coincidentally, but the original Holy Grail was thought to be a plate or a tray. Which is just, weird stuff, but I do wonder, especially since we've heard about this Aegeus, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but we've heard about that twice now, and it's kind of a unique name already. and we've heard about it for a place and for the cipher pole. You know, the top brass, the cipher pole. I do wonder what all that's heading towards. Okay, in the next page, in fact, we actually see a cipher pole agent, AGS 0 member showing pictures of Vivi to, I want to say that's Shelly, probably, with the hard eyes, who's fallen in love with Vivi there. I think Oda might be commenting on some people's theories of, you know, was Vivi going to get married to him or be forced into marriage? At least not yet. But maybe it's a clue to all that stuff. And then we see people going around town showing pictures of Sabo. And then we meet a cute little Jewelry Bonnie. I think she's in a kid form. I'm not 100% sure. But she's sitting there sad, thinking I'm hungry. And she's in the Tajin Kingdom's ship in the hatch section. And then we catch up with Sabo, who looks like he's still extremely wounded. And he's in the bottom of a ship he's in the Luisia Kingdom ship in the Bilge section, Bilge. I'm not sure what that is, but he seems to be underneath the underneath part of the ship. And if I can just make it to Luisia, I know I can figure something out. And then he's thinking about Cobra talking to him. I'm counting on you, Sabo. You must live on. And Sabo seems real upset and crushed by this memory. Then we cut down to the red port, which says it didn't take long for the two key stories to spread across the globe. The murder of King Cobra of Alabasta and the disappearance of his daughter, Princess Vivi. The Holy Land of Mary Joa. The man they call Sabo. He seems to have a checkered fate. How else can you account for him constantly being surrounded by those who bear the letter D? I was hoping we would be able to see to the egghead issue now, but it seems that dealing with this complication will have to take priority. Ring ring, clank. Yes, great emu. And we also it's Saturn is the one who's talking about the going to Egghead, so we see him do that obviously in the story, you know, currently. So a little foreshadowing, I guess, to that. Then it cuts inside to the Pangea Castle flower room. The time has come to put Vegapunk's invention to the test. Use the mother flame. It is true, we haven't had the chance to try it out before now, so there's no way to ascertain its effectiveness yet. Depending on how well this experiment goes, Egghead may reconsider its response. I think a forest area would be a more suitable testing ground than a sea-based target. The Luisia Kingdom. Quite a lot of people live there. That is of no consequence. Understood. The world moves at the will of the Creator. What is the reason for Luisia's selection? And then Emu says menacingly, it's close proximity. It shall be as you say. So okay, we're getting this attack here was not Uranus or a sun arrow, but close. It was a mother flame.
Yes.
And we see each of the gorosei members. I will make the necessary preparations. I humbly request your patience in the meantime. And we get info boxes for all of them, little Oda name spiral boxes. One of the 5 elder planets, the defense science warrior god, Saint J. Garcia Saturn. Then the next one, Luisia's citizens have shown sparks of rebellion recently. And he is the environmental warrior god, Saint Marcus Mars. Okay. We will be able to make an example out of them. The justice warrior god, Saint Topman Valkyrie. Okay. And then, if we could one day use this power freely, finance warrior god, Saint Ethan Baron Venus Juro. Okay, so it seems like these guys some of them have the actual names of stuff, planets, and then some of them have, like, it's mixed up, like Venus Juro, Baron Venus Juro, Top Man Valkyrie. I wonder, like, Mercury.
Yeah,
then-
in the leakers they explained the setup, and that's the thing. You remove the man and it becomes Lily Mercury. Actually, it's a pun.
Okay.
I think it works better in Japanese. I think that's why. In English, it's kind of weird.
And the last one, we could instantly snuff out any protracted conflict. The agriculture warrior god, Saint Shepherd Jupiter. So interesting. We get a whole thing about what exactly these guys are and what their jobs are.
I think it's very telling that Mercury is the god of law, especially with Hermes, because Hermes is the god of medicine, but he uses that symbol, the of the two snakes going up the rod. I don't know why, but that makes me think of the scales of law. So like
Okay, interesting.
you see what I'm saying? Yeah, like so there's something with his name. Like we need just
And
like this much more information.
with what you just said, his big mustache kind of being like two ends of a scale.
Yeah, yeah. He weighs them.
Yeah. It does look like a very strong mustache, so I bet it would be able to hold things
Yeah.
like that.
I'm just glad I don't have to call him Gorbachev anymore because that's what I've been calling him. So
Yep, yep. Yeah, he's the one that I feel like is the most like obviously someone like that.
oh yeah,
Interesting that the finance warrior is Venus as well as with the sword and stuff like that. I wonder if I just don't know. There's so much stuff with the Morning Star and if you've read or watched Game of Thrones with Littlefinger tying into a different type of Lightbringer. And I wonder if that whole finance thing has something because he's the guy of finance as well in that series. I wonder if all that might be, lots of hidden stuff with this guy about him being maybe out for something else than the rest of them.
There's something that
maybe
bothers me actually with that one actually. That gorosei, there's something weird that bothers me with his title. If you look at him, he seems to be the most Wano-esque, right? Or Ancient
True.
Kingdom kind of lore. Look at his name compared to all the other ones. It is the most European-centered name, if you think about it.
Yep.
It's very it's very interesting how he has the most, and because European lore is a lot in the world government, especially French and British. I mean, literally has a word like a name like Ethan, while all the other ones have more old people name. You know what I mean? Like Marcus, the way it's written. Just I was honestly I was shocked when I read that was his name. Not expecting that.
Yeah, I was expecting all of them to be named after rock stars, like kind of with the Jay Garcia thing being Jerry Garcia, but it seems like he went in a completely different direction with it, which I like. I like the direction he took for sure.
Well, I still think the environmental warrior god ZZ Top. I think the finance
Yeah.
warrior guy's Brian Eno, and then I think that the
Ooh.
Shepherd Jupiter. I asked my wife, and she thinks he looks like Morrison from The Doors, but that one I'm not
Jim
100%
Morrison?
on. What was that?
Okay. Okay. I said Jim
No, you fine.
Morrison?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I
Which
can see
I'm
that.
not
I can see that.
100% sold on. He kind of reminds me too of the guys from the Bee Gees. So
Yes.
any of those ones, I do definitely think that most of them, aside from Gorbachev, still have the rock music somewhere in their stuff. It's just maybe not in their name like the Garcia Saturn.
Yeah.
And looking up,
Hey.
Ethan, the name means strong, enduring, and firm. And it's a Hebrew origin name. So the fact that he's named that stuff, and then right after we had Jew Peter, which might be a reference to Jewish people, and then all this stuff here. I wonder what that could all mean with his naming like that. But I am glad we finally got some names to go with the faces. It's only been, it's only been like 20 years or
25
so.
years, yeah. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the chat, just checking, make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yeah. It's interesting. I didn't see the chat. I'm wondering what was their thoughts. It's a crazy chapter, so.
Cuddy
Sad
Flan's talking
can't-
about Venus and Lucifer. I think that there's something going on there, but not maybe in the idea. Well, with him maybe the straight, Lucifer playing it like he is maybe some sort of a bad person, but I think other characters like Luffy, it might incorporate the Lucifer known pre-Christianity around the world. Which actually, the word Lucifer comes from a company that made matches.
That's interesting. I'm gonna jump in. There's a comment, and because I even predicted that I think last week. The comment is about Sabo from Shanks the Figureland. Sabo a fraud. He ran from old men and let a handicapped man on a wheelchair save him. Dude, worst fire user ever. I'll say this. The fact that the way Emu's eyes moved last week, and now he was shocked how his attack did not affect them as much. I think there's something with Emu's ability, like it vibrates inside. Like Delph food users are more prone to get hurt. Like his little body was getting hurt. His Delph food was not even acting up. Like she has a way. How you awaken. I think Emu could do something like the opposite. Like make it dormant. It could be something like that because literally his fire when last week he shot, it did not even do an effect. And I look back every time the mirror attacks, there's some sort of reaction, interaction. It literally evaporated inside Emu's mouth. It had no effect at all. Like it didn't even affect Emu. And before that, Emu twitches his eyes at the fire.
Oh yeah,
So,
I talking
to
about
answer that
last
question.
chapter, whatever. The more and more I look at it, because I'm pretty sure when Emu makes that like mouth thing come up to get Sabo's fire to stop it from hitting her, whatever. I'm pretty sure she gains a pupil eye ring when she does that.
Mhm.
And I think it's time for us to accept that it is the Sharingan, and it is literally doing Amaterasu with black fire shadows.
Yeah, whatever it is, yeah. So I agree. There's something to it. So I do think that there's more to it than and Sabo being second command of Revolution Army, stating that he thought his attack would do more damage must mean a lot for someone who could take on admirals. There was something off about it. But yeah,
I mean, and going along those lines of that Sabo actually being really strong, he did pretty much get one-shotted by Emu.
yeah, exactly. So I think there's more to it. Sometimes we shouldn't assume that someone's weak. There's always about context. It could be an ability that he was just Beppo be able to surprise Blackbeard. Does not mean he's much stronger than Blackbeard. It's just on the moment. Not expecting.
Totally.
And with Emu's attack, we don't know if that was some kind of advanced hockey or a devil fruit. Like with the way it pierced the Logia, because we don't know because the devil fruit shouldn't have been able to do that. But it's one of those we have to wait and see, kind of, for sure.
True. Lucas, do you have any things that are sticking out to you with the names or anything?
I do not at the moment. I've got to do some more research on them. I'm thinking, because if you look at Mercury, right, and you look at that big ass mustache, it kind of reminds me of Freddie Mercury. I won't lie. Like Freddie was known for his big mustache, but I'm trying to figure out which rock stars they are now.
Roger.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that too.
I definitely know what you're saying here with him too. And even if he is the Mercury equivalent, Mancury, whatever, that would totally fit that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just looked up some quick name meanings. Marcus means of Mars and warlike and the god of war. So this super tall one with the ZZ Top beards and stuff like that, he might be something all about war with the Mars and with the Marcus name. And then the name Peter, let me look it up for sure. But the Peter name meaning, I think means rock or stone. So the shepherd Jew stone is what his name seems to be, which Ju, I wonder if that means anything. Interesting. It probably does.
Wait. Can you repeat again? Can you repeat it, Pan? What you said about Peter?
Peter means rock or stone, the name.
And dude, oh my god. I'm telling you, he is the young Gorosei was replaced Ganfall. Peter in French is Pierre. Pierre is the name of the horse of Ganfall.
Well, what's interesting is according
Ooh.
to Wiktionary, Jew, J-U, is in Dutch something you say to a horse to make it start moving.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think we have it. I think the gorosei that he replaced could have been Ganfall. This proves to it. The Jupiter, the Peter name connects back to it. And Jupiter is supposed to be Zeus. Who was the god? What ability that the god defeated Ganfall? Enel had thunder. Who had the thunder? Zeus. So it could be that. It could be him.
Okay.
He must have replaced him at one point in history. Sorry, my brain went crazy.
I get what you're saying. I'm not a huge proponent of Ganfall coming from these people, but I do think he's a representation of them. But I don't think he's like purely related to anything of them.
Yeah. No, I can agree. It's just, a lot of the stuff fits, but there might be even a faction I don't know about it. That's one where he comes from. But yeah, I do also understand your
I
end.
thought of seeing his name was that Despeter. Despeter.
Don't look.
It is something. It's like I'm drawing a blank right now, but it's some sort of old god type thing. Oh, hey, Cuddy Flam with the big you are Peter the Rock. And these are the words of Jesus that are recorded in the Bible. So interesting that they even mention the Peter and Rock tie in there. But yeah, okay. So move on to the next page. Oh, what was that?
Oh, I just said Bible pieces getting spicy. All the ties to the Bible.
Yeah, I'm sorry wondering.
Emu again. One more thing, of course. Retrieve Vivi, as you wish. Reminds me of the Princess Bride. But also we get to see that it looks like the Dendenmushi has Emu's crown on it. And then we cut outside to the outside of McDonald's Marine Ford 2. Meanwhile, the Kingdom of Tangine and the Aegis Kingdom are both rebelling. And we see Kainu between the disbanding of the 7 warlords and the uprisings in government-affiliated nations. The Navy has their hands full. However, deploy the Seraphim. Oh, we get to see Crocodile and Moria and then Doflamingo. Their Seraphim forms. Crocodile was spotted on Empty Bluffs Island. And then it says their military power had already gone in a new direction.
1 second, Adam.
Oh, my bad.
Super chat.
This is super chat. Phenom.
We get $10.
We in this B. What's up, boys? What a chapter. Yes, Ozzy Phenom.
Again,
it
we
was
appreciate you, bro.
A chapter.
Yeah, what a chapter.
Thank you very
much.
What a chapter. What a chapter. Adam is just now getting to read it, so.
Yeah, and Oz, if you have any questions or anything you've noticed in the thing, feel free to type it out. We'll try to read it out loud. Whatever it is you found or connections you've made, perfect.
Yes.
But yeah, here we get the last remaining Seraphim that we haven't seen outside of Blackbeard, if he is one or not. But we get to see them in Crocodile looking very very androgynous.
Yes.
Dude, it reminds me of Kaku from Naruto.
Yeah.
Something about it looks like Robin. I won't lie. Like, I don't know if it's just a framing or what. Yeah, it looks like Robin.
Robin, but you know who else?
Feminine.
Robin, who else? But I get a lot of young Hancock in his eyes.
Ooh, yes.
Young
definitely
what?
has feminine features.
Hancock.
Young Hancock.
Young Hancock in the eyes, the way he looks at things.
Yes.
True.
Moria looks more like his fat version than the young version we saw that Kaido.
Dude,
I'm being real. Like, he looks like,
he's giving me Luffy vibe.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I
No, you're
jumped in
good.
before you finished.
No, you're good. You're good, brother. But yeah, definitely goofy. Dopey just looks menacing. Like any Dopey, doesn't matter if it's a kid or not, just looks menacing. Like, they are there to mess things up.
I was gonna say something, because before I interrupted Lucas, it's very interesting because the way you see Moria and the way he was defeated by, what we found out about how he was defeated by a certain, Kaido in the past.
Yes.
It's interesting that now we saw both of those characters, how it seems that a joy inside of them was destroyed. It's an interesting, unique parallel to one another. Like it does feel, and I'm wondering if both of them, after being humbled by Luffy, if that spark might come back in the future storyline.
Ooh, I've been wondering that too, because I think Moria is about to come back, especially with everything going on in Hachinose and stuff. But we'll get there at another time. But I really do think that Moria is about to come back. I'm still on the fence about Kaido being alive or not. He probably is, knowing Oda, but I definitely think Moria is about to come back.
I think we even got Perona saying he was still alive somewhere in the prisons there.
Yeah, he's on Hachinose. So, like, he's definitely, I'd give it like 2 or 3 chapters and he's back.
Okay.
If we get back to Egg.
Well, I know we have a month. I did see a stuff about the break. We do have like a month break or whatever until we get to wherever.
July 12th, I think, is the next chapter after this.
Okay.
Or the July 10th, one of those two. Yeah.
It'll be just a little bit over a year to start my YouTube channel. So like, share, and subscribe to that. Am Jim Rakai if you are watching the stream.
Yes.
I think that the most interesting thing about Croc, which Croc is an anagram for rocks, but is that he has the scar as a kid.
Yeah.
I know there's lots of stuff about, he could be a woman or whatever, and when we see him at Roger's execution and all that stuff. But I think that the biggest deal about Roger's execution is whether he has the scar or not, and we only see the back of his head. So I really wonder where this thing is, where it comes from, why he got it. I kind of always thought he got it from Whitebeard before. But if he has it as a kid, I really wonder, it just makes me wonder a lot more. I've said before, I don't think that Crocodile was the sex changed one. I think that Dragon was. But I wonder with Crocodile, what might be most important is this symbolic circumcision that he gets on his face, where it's what exactly does this mean and why did it happen?
Yeah, it's got to be some kind of symbol that comes from his past for sure. There's more to it than just character design.
But it always reminds me of the boogeyman in Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes, yeah.
I was looking at a picture of Croc one day. I was flipping upside down, looking at all these things, trying to see if he had like a third eye or something. And I went to my wife and I'm like, Chloe, what do you think this looks like? What does this remind you of anything? And her first thing was, it kind of reminds me of that boogeyman. And the boogeyman, sack man, all these things. I really do wonder if he's from some sort of a civilization or a peoples that are very, very sacrificey type things, and that maybe he got cut in the face as some sort of a ritual.
I might have something with the boogeyman, and I think it's music related. Okay. You know who loves the boogeyman lore? Oh, sorry, yeah.
Just one sec. Terrible TJ just gifted 1 month membership to the last arc. S Gecko has flaming hair. Like the stream. Yeah, he definitely does have some kind of flaming hair. It's very Gear 5-esque to me, the way their hair looks as Seraphim. Yes, go on, Cube. Sorry. Thank you, TJ.
Yes, thank you, TJ. Big Q, what were you saying with the boogeyman?
Yeah, just before we go to the boogeyman, give love to everyone, and also to Dak, who just hopped on the chat. I see Dak Sake, who secretly jumped in, so happy to have you here, bro. And as I was saying, one person who loves the boogeyman lore is Michael Jackson, which is heavily inspired in One Piece. I
True.
think he even has a song about the boogie. Like
Hmm.
he always liked the stuff like that. You know how Michael Jackson had his whole
Oh, blame it on
occult
the
thing.
boogie.
Yeah, and he always had this occult vibe. I always liked that. I see prior video, and also Michael Jackson literally called his hometown, his place, Neverland, which Peter Pan lures with crocodile. So I do feel like
True.
there might be some Peter Pan type of, and I don't know why. Ever since you said the boogeyman, and I was saying Michael Jackson, look at S Crocodile's hair, the hair in front of his face.
Mm.
It actually makes me think of Michael Jackson in Bad.
Yes.
That
Mm.
train of hair in front of his.
Ooh.
It's very Michael Jackson like.
Okay.
Someone not like Crocodile. Crocodile is all the thing about being a man or a woman. With him, what do we have? Being black or white, stuff like that. So there is also this thing. So there could be this idea of the ambiguity with Crocodile, same way with Michael Jackson around it.
Very interesting. No, I like that with the MJ reference there, and that he and that's kind of honestly works into what we were saying with the Scar thing. If he was chosen as at a young age to do something for his people and was marked that way, but very similar to kind of Jackson being chosen by his dad to run the Jackson 5 and be the stars at a young age, pretty much having no childhood because of whatever your parents are deciding. I do think that Crocodile Rock, whatever, might be tied into all that stuff.
And I'm gonna say this, it's just because it's funny. If you think about it, Michael Jackson's Pepsi ad, where he got burned, you could say that
Yeah,
he was marked by. You could say he was marked by flames also.
that's very true. That's very true. I honestly, and Cube honestly is something I'm gonna have to probably do talk with you about. I have a whole bunch of music videos coming up that are just about references some songs that he's doing, and they're like major theme things. And I think you're absolutely right, where this idea that pretty much the entire life of Michael Jackson is referenced in various ways in weird abstract things throughout the manga.
Well, not his entire life. Probably not the controversies. Like, I'm sure
Well,
Oda's
there
going to stay clear of those.
There are some great videos by a YouTuber named Razor Fist that goes into some of those and how they might have all been paid for by Sony.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that too. Actually, we'll have to get in another call and talk about that sometime because I'm all
Yeah.
about those conspiracy theories, my man.
Yeah.
Let's-
It's amazing what will
let's-
happen to you when you try to buy Sony.
Yeah,
Right?
I'll say this. Let's go back to the conspiracy of Emu. It'll be easier, I think, because well, that's a new can of worms we're gonna open up. But yeah.
True,
Wait, is this
true.
one?
Well, here we'll go on in the chapter. We see the new Seraphims, the cool looking. I think now we've seen all of them but Blackbeard.
Mm-hmm.
And we cut to the end of the flashback finally, where Sabo's talking with Vonkov and Dragon. The second we docked at Louisia, the people arrested King Seki and Princess Komain. They were just waiting to ambush the royals. Since I was a stowaway, they welcomed me with open arms. That's when I saw the papers and found out that they pinned King Cobra's murder on me. Unsurprisingly, the people there considered me a hero. I wanted to tell them the truth, but when I saw how that lie fanned the flames of rebellion within them, the words died in my mouth. Betty and the others had already inspired a lot of them, and I ended up bringing many of those hopeful recruits back with me. I couldn't make direct contact without an encryption snail, so I rerouted my call through the island while we were setting sail. I knew the government would intercept the signal, but doing it like that was sure to fool them into thinking I was still on Louisia. However, I was just within range, having already set out to sea with our new enlistees. So the annihilation of Louisia really did happen during that call. Yeah, everyone on board was hysterical. A lot of them had family on the island. They saw their country obliterated right in front of their eyes. Despicable. How in the world did they do it? An enormous shadow seemed to engulf the sky above us, and the next moment everything was gone. An enormous shadow? There's no way it was caused by a living thing or some natural disaster. Something pitch black was flying above the clouds. Tabo, earlier you said they used the name Emu. Right. This may be a little out there, but when the world we know today was created 800 years ago, one of the first 20 sovereigns the Saint Emu of House Nerona. House Verona? Verona Zoro? No, Nerona. Now, look at this.
No.
Since we know an ability granting eternal youth is said to exist, that must mean someone has used it before, right? Which means there's a person out there that doesn't need to worry about death. And this book, it looks like it says genes, Genesis, or genies.
I think it's Genesis.
Yeah, it is probably, but the to me, the idea that it might have a magical lamp on the front too, right here, really makes me think it might be genes or genies.
Yeah.
It might be a devil fruit book too, I guess, if he's pointing that stuff out. But okay, this Saint Emu of House Nerona. Nerona. So that might be Emu's last name, Emu Nerona.
Listen, I'm gonna say this. It sounds like a big stretch, but you know how last year I was talking about a lot of Thriller Bark lore is coming back with the emu abilities?
True.
I don't think it's a coincidence that one of those people who had such a crazy ability to have her own network is literally called Perona.
True.
Ooh.
And
literally, the one letter
is,
change. One letter
I
changes only. There might be something.
No, I think there's much more to that than just Perona. So the name Nerona originally just is a singular definitive adjective or whatever for the word Nero. Obviously, there's the Roman Nero guy,
Yeah.
Zero, whatever. But Nero in every other language means genius, and the main definition of genius is obviously someone who is really smart, good at something or whatever. But in Roman mythology, it means the tutelary deity or spirit of a place or person. And I talk about this in my my Vegapunk brain video or whatever. But the idea that Emu might be a guardian spirit or something that's stuck to. She even says in this chapter about how she's choosing Louisia because it's close in proximity to attack with. I do wonder if maybe she is stuck in Mary Joa much more than just like figuratively. Maybe she is literally stuck there or bound there like a spirit.
Like a princess trapped in a tower?
Exactly like a princess trapped in a tower.
Yeah, when I first saw the name Nerona, my first thought was Nero, the one who burned Christians at the stake kind of thing.
Yep.
There's something fitting there with what we've seen of Emu so far.
Which I did look at the last page of this when I saw stuff just to see the one character, and consider what you just said as absolutely as a tie in at the end of this chapter with the crucifixion.
Yeah, exactly. You were going to say something, Cube?
Yeah, I might annoy you with the French lore. Louis XIV, literally, like I said, it's very similar to Emu in terms of how he reigned his kingdom. And it does connect Austria with, Brooke, because his mom was Anne of Austria. And his biggest fear, and the reason why, was noble. The nobles was the people he always keep an eye on. And before the start of his reign, when he was a kid, they actually acted like he had died in an event when he was a kid, when they tried to get rid of him. And then he appeared at 18 years old as the ruler. And a lot of people were shocked by it. So I wouldn't be shocked that Emu, and I think Wapol, hearing the word Emu might be the reason why Wapol panicked that we saw the moment he saw it in the hole last week. It could also be that. It wasn't the fact that he saw Emu dancing, it was the name Emu that made him panic.
Okay. Hey, real quick. We got a super chat of $2 from Grand Line Bound. Saying my first berries to TLA. Den Koosh, Big Dad, Cube, Pirates, Glowing, I guess. But thank you so much for your chat. That's telling us that it was the first one you've done. So thank you so much for the chat, Grand Line Bound.
Smokey, my boy, you are a legend. You are a goat. Big Dad in the house. That is what is up, my man, and we will be blowing. If you see me cutting off the camera, that's what I'm doing. All right.
And to everyone, watch out for his work. He's working some content, and it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, he just released a chopper video that was A1. If you have not watched it yet, go to Grand Line Bound after this stream and watch that, because One of the best videos on Chopper I've watched in a long time.
Perfect.
Woo! All right, you guys ready to keep cooking?
Yeah, no, yeah. If Cuba had anything else to say about the King Louis stuff or anything like that,
It's just I'm really wondering. I'm pretty sure there's going to be an explanation on that will connect to the nobleman. I think maybe a select few might know about him, the higher ups, but I think the regular, maybe the Holy Knights, and they might like have common goals. But I think the depraved ones of the Satsu Dragons, they might not even know that.
well,
Because
yeah,
they
they don't even know about Emu's existence.
exactly, yeah, they don't know about Emu existence. So like I think it could be intentionally the Holy Knights could be because the knights were the loyalest people that was the most loyal to Louis XIV, who Louis XIV actually trusted. It was a noble he didn't trust. So we also have to make this a difference between the Holy Knights and the Celestial Dragons. Like there's a different faction completely.
Yeah,
So it could
that is
be
what
like
I'm wondering big time is are the gorosei higher than the Holy Knights, or are the Holy Knights higher than them? And then either one, if whatever's the answer, why does the gorosei know about Emu if they don't, or vice versa?
yeah. This is why for me it's very interesting. They have the word saint on it and their names. That's why I'm wondering if their names were adopted. Like they could be because you think about it, the way they describe the reverie, stuff like that, but the Gorosei, the rooms that they are rooms that only anybody can come in. But we never seen them in an exclusive place except for the emo room, right? But we'd have to assume it's locked up for everyone. But maybe Holy Knights go in that room, but there's no place specific for Gorosei. So I'm wondering if the Goroseis are the original ones who were not a part of the world government, part of those kings. You mean they're only on paper, but they don't have the blood. That's right. The bloodline isn't royal.
Yeah.
It's not old royal blood. It's like new blood.
It could tie into like the Catholicism belief too that you have to earn sainthood. So maybe with the name saint, it's something like you said they don't have the blood, so they had to earn their place as a saint, as a 5 elder star.
And there was a difference between the noblemen who were from the bourgeoisie and the noblemen by bloodline. They would never. It's basically old rich of new rich. Same thing. Hasn't changed over all those years. The judgment. You wouldn't be like you're not like us. You don't have a real culture. You've just moved up in society. We've given you the room. You know what I mean? That kind of condemn from one side to the other. So it could be the same thing with Gorosei. The Gorosei, they are only on paper they're seen as royal, but maybe like the Deep South Dragons don't even consider them as royals, or even the Holy Knights. You know what I mean?
Well, they did call Emu the creator, and then so one of the definitions of a saint is one of the blessed in heaven or blessed by heaven, but it can also just mean a holy object, and that's actually it's all the oldest usage of the word saint is in the idea that there are holy objects that are like a holy grail type thing, that those can also be called saints. Oh, and real quick, Oz Phenom just donated another $10. Thank you so much. Since Luffy is always helping free the princesses around the world, maybe Emu has a curse that affects every generation and can only be broken with a kiss from a true hero, like in Snow White. And I think that is extremely likely, Oz. I think that she's Rapunzel, and that the real story of Rapunzel is about getting your eyes ripped out and all sorts of crazy stuff with Egypt. And I think that the long hair, the all black drape, all that stuff might be. And then if you think of the poneglyphs leading back to somewhere, those would be like the strands of hair. How Rapunzel sometimes she either, well, in the original myth, she's fairy tale, she's taken and she pulls off a piece of her hair, golden hair, and leaves a trail of it to be found. So I wonder if, in a very literal sense, the poneglyphs are the same thing, and they are leading back to saving this princess, or just something locked in a tower. Lots of times it used to be a sun goddess. Before it became a princess for us, they used to always be sun goddesses who were trapped in the tower, and that's why the sun stayed up at night and whatever. And sometimes the devil would be in love with that princess trying to save her, but that would mean the world would end because there'd be no sun to stay up in the air and stuff. So I think all of that's very possible for what Oda might be playing with here.
I agree.
I'm gonna read. There's a comment from Keb that you'll love. It's about Mercury. You have to scroll up a bit.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think it's specific for you, Adam. You might
Okay.
like the cool question.
Oh yeah, I'm reading right now. You guys have any thoughts on the Valkyrie translation? The kanji is Wuki Yuri, which would be Warkuri instead. And we know of Warland, the region of the New World that has Elbath. I'm gonna have to see what the Viz translation is, how they word this Warkuri thing, because it makes me think of like honestly, the first thought it kind of had me have was Wario from Mario and stuff like that, like Wario. But the Valkyrie thing, because Valkyries are always, I mean, they're always beautiful goddess women that take a warrior spirit to Valhalla. That's the only thing Valkyries do. They don't, they battle at Ragnarok a little bit, but mainly they're like Pied Pipers. They mainly transport spirits like Botan. Botan's a Valkyrie in Yu Yu Hakusho. So I wonder what his. I liked what Lucas was saying about the scales, and maybe there's someone like Anubis there, and there's got like a judge of the dead type thing, which the Valkyries technically were as well. Yeah. But I do wonder what exactly is getting played at with that. Now I'll have to see the official translation on Sunday to know for sure what not know for sure, but have a better idea of what exactly they're trying to say here translated.
See, that's what I'm waiting for too. I want to wait for the official translation before I go too deep into the names, just because we don't know what was mistranslated. We don't know what way they're going to go with the Viz. So yeah, it's definitely, with the names at least, it's definitely something you want to wait for the official translations to come out for.
Yeah, because I keep thinking that Jew Peter, it might be Das Pater, which I'm drawing a blank about what the.
But also, I think also Oda sort of followed the theme of the planet thing, but I think there might be some more stuff, or I think the name Jupiter or stuff like that might not change, but maybe the naming, the wording of the other ones, you know what I mean, like the top man stuff, like those nicknames, those ones could be a bit different, because there are some that are just odd, like top man. Top man comes out of nowhere, you know what I mean? Like it could be something else. But then top man makes you think of those top hats as well, but
Yeah. When I first read Top Man, I thought of the Fat Controller or Mr. Toppin Hat from Thomas the Tank Engine. I don't know why, but like when I saw his name, it was like, that's Mr. Toppin Hat. that's all I could get out of Top Man. That is all I could get out of Top Man. That is such a wild name, and I want to wait for the Viz to figure out like what it actually is.
A few years ago, I read in a forum, we were talking about One Piece, and someone made this outlandish thing. We kind of made fun of him, but now I'm wondering if he was saying that he had some weird vibe with this gorosei looking like Mr. Potato from Toy Story, who had a top hat.
Yeah.
Because of the nose. I remember when I heard it, I found it outlandish, but
Chloe, what does it mean?
Yeah, it's there's Mr. Potato Head though. I thought the Pringles guy for a sec. I don't know if you guys have Pringles there, but like the chips, that's what I thought when I first saw the Gorbachev guy. Yeah, I was like, that guy looks like the Pringle dude. This, of course, was last year when I was first catching up and shit. I was like, but the first time I saw him, I was like, that's Mr. Pringles. I don't even care.
Yeah.
Adam, you want to continue reading, my man? Oh, did we lose Adam?
Yeah, I think you have to go. No worries. Because I was just gonna take a look at the thing, because actually, if you look at because I'm outside right now, I'm quickly getting back home. If you look at Catty Flam's last message after Fritz, it's actually interesting. The name Lucifer never appeared in the Bible. It appears in the Latin version and not in the Hebrew Tetragrammaton, which is the original. There's a reference to him, but in this version, his name is Helel Ben Shahar. Helel means planet Venus. Ben Shahar, bright day of the morning. Only the combination of these two meanings was written as Lucifer, which means the one who brings the light. I really have to think about that, Catty. Honestly, Catty Flam, I really have to think about it, but that's actually quite interesting. That's interesting.
Wild. Kati, if you haven't, you should check out some of the Sumerian mythologies. That's what inspired the Epic of Gilgamesh, which I believe that's from the Sumerians. The Epic of Gilgamesh, which eventually, inspired the Christian flood myth as well. But what you said, I don't know why, but it made me think of that, especially with the Lucifer connection. And God, yeah, that's wild, especially with the Ben Shahir, the bright day of the morning. Like,
Well, I'm not sure.
my
I'm not sure
goodness.
if Cuddy Flame already said it or not, but the word Lucifer in Latin just originally meant light bringer.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
it is the light.
Yeah. We were reading the comments. He just released some crazy takes. You should see the comments. It's actually interesting about the Bible.
yes, that's what I was trying to say earlier.
Yeah,
It's
that's
never
right.
in the Bible. It was actually created by Samuel Jones, who had a match company, and he named the self-starting or self-igniting matches Lucifers because they brought light.
Mm, mm,
And something that yeah, no, but yeah, I think the Lucifer thing, and then it's interesting too to me because not on this Lulesia ship that we see. Let's look at some of the ones in the beginning. Most every single pirate ship that we see has candle lamps.
mm.
Almost every single one has a candle lamp that looks. If you've once again going back to Nightmare Before Christmas, Jack Skellington's office and lab and house are all in a giant light fixture.
Yes.
That's the same light fixture that the Sunny has, that the Going Mary had, that there's one on the outside of Law's submarine. There was a few on the outside and the back of Rox's ship that we saw. He has 3 of them, as well as the ship that Brooke was on in the past, and as well as the one that Kid's ship. All of the main ships that we see in the series have that. Now Shanks's doesn't and Garps's doesn't, but all these other characters, they have that light bringing thing right there from Jack Skellington.
And I mean, The Nightmare Before Christmas came out in 1993. It was one of the biggest movies of the year, of all time, really. But it was one of the biggest movies of the year. So you could definitely see Oda probably pulling some kind of inspiration from it. So I think you're onto something.
Oh yeah, I think I know Tim Burton did not direct that movie. He just produced it, whatever, and wrote it.
Yeah,
whatever.
he was a producer, yeah.
But it's definitely his style in there, and I think that Oda is just in love with Tim Burton's style. If you really want to go crazy down the rabbit hole, anyone watching the stream or whatever, think about Dracula Mahawk and various other type cryptids and monster type names, and watch the movie Ed Wood.
Dude.
Because
yes.
even tying into the idea of what so one of the biggest things we were talking earlier about Michael Jackson, okay? Just go out a little bit of a tangent. What was the point of the Thriller video?
He was a monster.
Yeah, but from a writing and as well as a directing, what they've said about it in the past and stuff, what was their main message they were trying to send with Thriller?
I'm trying to remember the Thriller video. All I can remember is the dance.
Like a werewolf demon at the end, and he's like smiling.
Yeah. And he turns around and he's like, ah. Yeah. Like, I remember it. But isn't the monster lurking inside or something like that? Because it has that thing about Vincent Price and where he does the voiceover. So isn't that?
No, but also Lucas, remember they came out of the movies. She acted like she wasn't scared of it, and then she acted like it did not exist. And he showed her basically showing that the zombies, all of the occult, that it's not scary, and it's not funny. Like she didn't believe it. She was trying to, make it weird. Then he showed like kind of an insult type of. That's how I kind of see it. This clip, and then he literally shows that this entire world could be the occult.
Yeah.
True. And I think that's one side of the coin. I think that the other biggest side of the coin from the director and all that stuff was that idea in 1983. TV was getting scarier. Movies were getting more frightening. You had Halloween. You had Freddy Krueger, Jason. movies were getting a lot more violent and scary in that idea. And Thriller's main point was we can trust us parents. Okay, if you're a parent letting your kid watch something, trust us because we're going to scare him a little bit. We're going to show him the world can be really bad. But at the end, he smiles and he's charming and it's kind of fun. Trust us to bring it back to a happy ending and that it's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah.
And the idea that Michael Jackson and Thriller have that kind of like ideas about horror is very tied to what Ed Wood, they talk about horror in that movie. And I think what Oda's kind of trying to do with a lot of this stuff to where these are horrific, world events and stories, but trust him to kind of always have, Luffy or a fun side or something. Not a fun side, but just like a cartoony side, wacky side to all this stuff, just like the Thriller video.
Yes. Okay, I see what you're saying.
But yeah, no, let's jump to the next page. I don't think we have many more pages.
No, I think we got about 2 left.
Okay. So you think the one I saw is Saibo talking about that Nerona person? It could be a coincidence. Maybe they just share the same name, but could anyone else but a founder command the 5 elder planets, the highest of the world nobles? The celestial dragons fancy themselves as the descendants of God, after all. One more thing. Assuming the object you saw above the clouds was a weapon made by the government, then the only one capable of creating such a thing could be Vegapunk. Hold it, Ava. Vegapunk would never intentionally design a dedicated killing machine. I know. So what if it was an ancient weapon? Assuming Emu has been living since ancient times, there is a connection. Robin told us that the ancient weapons do in fact exist. But if this person had such a weapon, why wait till now to use it? Now that's okay. I like that because I do think it's an ancient weapon.
So okay, this is for me. What I was saying is, if it's an ancient weapon, why would she wait this long? This is why I do forget what Emu was trying to. I think whatever she lost, Vegapunk was trying to recreate it. I think it's supposed to act like an ancient weapon, but it isn't.
See, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he was trying to recreate Uranus. Not by any, obviously I don't have any evidence for that, but just because they said that, it's called the Mother Flame, and in Egghead, he talked about the eternal flame that people used as a fuel that he cannot replicate. And I don't know how those two tie together, but they do. But I really do think that he was trying to mimic Uranus's power based off of what the gorosei or Ian had told him. I don't think he's met Ian, but so that's what he was trying to do with it. So I definitely think that it's based off of an ancient one, and that's how it has its destructive force.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's an ancient weapon. I think that it is just Uranus. That is a sun arrow is Uranus backwards, and it just makes me think whatever she shot out with the mother flame or the flame from the sun. But I am really curious and wondering why exactly would they wait till now to use it? Because that's what I don't. Because conceivably, whatever's happened to make this thing usable has happened that we've seen.
Yeah.
Either Luffy and them passing by the red line, or if it's them gaining or unlocking Gear 5, did that somehow unlock the ancient weapon? Something like along those lines is what making me think that okay, this thing couldn't be used until X, Y, and Z happened. But what are those X, Y's, and Z's that we've seen in the story?
I see what you're saying.
Who knows?
I just want to say something. Remember, a month ago, I think Adam, you were on that. You also heard me. Remember when I said that I realized by doing my Impel Down research, how Ivankov is a vault of information, and every time something big happened, right now Ivankov has hinted to it in Impel Down every time. So I'm actually quite happy about the fact that my Ivankov called out that there's something off about her knowledge. Also, the medicine aspect to it. So yeah. So everyone here who's here, everybody in the stream, I'm telling you, keep an eye on Ivankov. There's more to it. There's more to that Okama King.
Oh, I definitely agree.
She's definitely the queen. All right.
Okay, then the last
I'll
page.
let you round us out. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, round us out with that last page because it's the spiciest of all.
Present day, the Holy Land of Marijoa. A celestial dragon has just been sentenced to death. Our food supply is gone. We have no bread. All we have is cake. However, this information will never be reported to the outside world. The judge was the former king of the land known as God Valley. He currently serves as the supreme commander of the God's Knights. His name is Saint Figureland Garling. And the man he sentenced to execution, none other than the one who had chosen to defend fishermen, Saint Don Quixote Miosgard, whatever. Anyone who protects scum is lower than the scum they protect. A man who can even judge the celestial dragons, ... And then break for 5 weeks because of Oda's getting astigmatism fixed.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
Oh
what
my
do we think about
goodness.
this guy?
Oh, listen. Rest in peace to my boy Mossguard, because Jesus, I did not expect that. I won't lie. I did not expect him to die. But I think this confirms because, as we know, Shanks is also a Figureland. I want to see if this guy has red hair when they call him the official challenge. Chapter.
I'm thinking it's probably because he's old. It's probably white because they would have had that half tone in there.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna, I like to pat my own back, but also because she couldn't be here on the stream 3-day, but I'm gonna give
Yes.
W's to both me and 3-day. 3-day have called Shanks being the prince of the king of the head of the Holy Knights plus God Valley, and I hinted that my theory about God Valley being Marineford because it used to be the home of the gods. We had a similar idea, so
Mhm.
gotta
And
give us
we just got a super chat from Blue Block for $10. All hail Prince
thing.
Shank Figureland and his twin brother Shiv Figureland.
Shit.
I was gonna, I thought I was
love
gonna
it.
say his lost arm.
But thank you very much, Blue Block.
Yes, thank you, Blue Blah. I won't lie. I'm gonna pat myself on the back too because everybody was saying that the silhouette of the God Knight was like a clone or something like that, and I was like, nah, it's probably just one of Shanks's family members. And I was right. So like, I said it was his brother, but I'll take a father. I'll take a father.
Honestly, they're probably every single one of them are probably a Figureland.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Or if not a Figureland, the real descendants of the 20. So maybe the celestial gods aren't what they are, if you get what I'm saying.
Good point.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I might have an idea on the naming of the. It made me think of the Vikings. Eric's son of Eric. Michaelson, son of Michael. I think Figureland is the Garlic, son of Figar, or from the head of Figar's family. Maybe because Figar. I looked just the word Figar, and it's a wording for the word sad, which is the opposite of joy, which is interesting. So literally the sad land in a way, but it's there's other words that goes to. So I think the land is added on, so it could either be the first people 800 years ago, or it could be the father before, because also in Viking, you're named after your father, not because then your grandfather has a different name. He's named after his father. You know what I mean? So not like after 2 generations, you don't have the same last names.
True,
So
true.
I don't know.
I could see that with the Usopp land naming stuff too.
Yeah.
But I think something that might be a little bit crazier, but more likely, with the Figar. So Figar, Figaro, stuff like that. It means barber. And if you want to go for a wild trip, listen to Penny Lane while reading the second half of the first chapter. And Shanks is the barberman who collects photos of everyone he's had the pleasure to know, which are the bounty hunter posters. But this barber thing, he has crazy hair. He obviously has very, very crazy moon crescent shaped hair or whatever. But if we take into account the idea that Rapunzel is a emu representation, where this princess and her hair and all this stuff, well, who would be in charge of that haircut would be the barber of the world. And I do think he's doing lots of stuff with like Sweeney Todd and the Demon Barber or whatever, as well as the very famous Bugs Bunny cartoon where Bugs is in the opera and he's playing the piano. that's the barber of figure or whatever. I read the exact title of it, but that's about the barber of some place is the play that they're doing, the classical music that they're playing. So I think
It's
that he's
the
taken
Barber
this.
of Seville.
Yes. But I think he's kind of taken this idea of the barber cutting hair, being in charge of the how that would maybe extend to being in charge of a Rapunzel type character, or at least be able to control her fate in some way, considering they can cut hair or let it be long, whatever it is. I do wonder if that's something that all these kind of the demon barbers of the world, and they all seem to have swords, are something. And then Garling is probably garlic or something. I don't know if garling's a real word.
Well, garland is a type of dressing, not like salad dressing, but like a tassels
Yeah,
and
like
stuff
on
like that.
Christmas
You know what I
tree.
mean? Yeah, like garland on the Christmas tree. But I also went to the same place with Figure. When I heard that, I thought of Figaro from the Barber of Seville, the main character.
Okay.
He is the Barber of Seville. Yeah, so I went the same direction you went with the hair cutting and then him having the crazy hair and everything. That's immediately where my mind went.
Okay, cool. 'Cause that's where I have not seen all of Film Red yet, but I knew the last name thing, and I did some research just based
Yeah.
on that. And now, of course, we get a can in the story. Oh, okay, so interesting. So Garling, Gerling, is a German name which means spear or lance.
Ooh.
And of course, Roger's name means a spear. It can also mean to copulate, but it also mainly means a spear. So I do wonder if they are all kind of like if you've seen Game of Thrones in the books, if you've read the books more, but the entire island, land of Dorne seems to have a whole bunch of stuff going on, subplots, and trying to overthrow things. And the Martell sigil is a spear in the middle of a sun. So I think this idea that the spears are attacking or controlling the sun, or they let out the energy, they let it in, they trim it like it's they trim it like it's a yard of grass that you have to cut every week in your yard. And they use the sun stuff for what they want, then they stop it from coming anymore. And maybe that's what they do with Emu for the most part, all around the story.
So there's a chat I want to put out real quick from Cuddy Flam. Said, "This is crazy. I can't go into details because there's a spelling restriction on YouTube, but Figureland can mean tree or fruit or Sancta Maria."
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, because also with fig, that's why I thought fruit connection as well with fig. But now that you've said that, you're gonna have to hit me up on Discord, Cuddy, and let me know some more about this.
So
Well,
I'm gonna jump.
were originally what Persephone and all those things ate at the bottom of hell with the fruit.
Yeah. All right, what were you saying, Cube?
I'm gonna say something. So I want you to go look closely at Garling's glasses and hairstyle. Okay. Now tell me, this does not give you also Frankie vibes?
Yeah.
The same Frankie who his outfit as to hide in Dressrosa, which we'll go in lore, was what? Gorosei outfit. Literally top hat with the glasses. So I'm wondering if he has a connection to something about the God Valley, and that might be the reason why his bounty picture keeps being altered every time.
Ooh.
He never think about it. The first time it was too low. He even said it's too low for what I'm supposed to be. Then he gets, I think it was General Frankie, and then he got what? The Sunny. Somebody's intentionally trying like to mess with his bounty every time, and this really gave me like, because I don't want to say that Frankie and Shanks are forever together, but I think the way his hairstyle is, it connects to the God Valley place. Maybe, and he was born 36 years ago. So if his mother was at God Valley, it would have been 2 years. She would have fled 2 years after he was born 2 years after the event. So maybe his mother was a human that lived in God Valley.
I just pulled up. It really reminds me of, we were talking about this a couple days ago, the God figure in that original one shot that Oda made.
Yeah. And Wanted.
Yeah.
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 They have kind of the same nose with the better art, with with the more advanced art style nowadays. And then instead of wearing just the eyes out, he just has glasses. Obviously, the beard and everything are a lot differently shaped. But I wonder if this has transformed into this idea of a god or whatever in this world.
The good thing about it is we know that the Holy Knights are really world government. Look at the side, the logo of the world government. It's part of their emblem as well.
True.
On
Well, and
the
they seem to have the sun emblem that we see everywhere with the ball and then the 8 orbs around it, split in 2 on his uniform here.
Mhm.
So I wonder what that could mean about splitting the sun or separating it every once in a while or something.
And I'm pretty sure that we got some lore about Holy Knights in Whole Cake. The way they name him, he is considered as the judge. The head of the Germanic kingdom is called Judge of all things. I think there was some stuff. Yeah. And like, I'm a big believer that Oda loves to play around with names and wording. Like, I do believe that the reason why, because, I have a big theory working on about Kizaru, and I don't think it's a coincidence that his fruit is the only fruit that rhymes with Nika from all the names. And I'm a big believer that it's not random. Some stuff he chooses specifically. It's not going to be like this person's for that reason, but there's a theme that connects both of them every time. So that might not be in the story, but the storyline might have influenced him for something else every time. And I'm telling you, this guy is very sus because we have the Shank stuff. But when I saw the Raw, it gave me Frankie immediately.
Yeah,
I first thought it was Frankie. Yeah, and when I looked at it first,
Shanks.
yeah, and when I first looked at, but I tell you, I didn't think of Shanks. The moment I saw Garlic, I thought of Frankie. The moment I saw his face.
Yeah.
True.
Same.
It's
I
crazy.
think they probably created Frankie too. And real quick, we got a super chat from Oz the Phenom once again for $5 saying,
my God, he's
to
a
be
king.
honest, the shot of Saint Figureland with his glasses reminded me of Kureha, which I definitely can see that and agree.
Ooh, yeah. Weird that you brought up Frankie, because earlier in the chapter, when I first read the Mother Flame, the way that they spelled it, at least in the translation I read, it almost like it could be pronounced flam and not flame. And for some reason, that really stuck out to me. And now you're saying this stuff with Garland, I can totally see him looking like Frankie. Because everyone talks about Nami's origins all the time, but Frankie is the one I'm most curious about.
Oh yeah,
he looked like he looked like he got dropped off by one of the what was the Mad Science Group ships? It looks just like the Mad Science Group.
Yeah, and you want to know something crazy about Frankie? There are 2 dates that are important for Frankie: the year he was born, the year he was up at Tom's place. He was born 2 years after God Valley, and he was dropped off on Tom's island the year of Roger execution.
Yeah.
Someone literally didn't want him to be found for some reason. And now he's in Luffy's crew. I don't think it's a coincidence. Literally, nature.
I think the whole if you just read the weird way that he finds that he has the atom wood, makes no sense for such a valuable metal or valuable material to have survived unused or unspent for no reason except for whatever. But I think it was because Frankie's been dropped and programmed to make the ship for Luffy this whole time.
Ooh, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
And that basically everything that he does is a predetermined thing. Like, I think that's a lot of characters. Like, we were just talking about Crocodile with his face or whatever. Those facial scars, I really think that the biggest clue is your favorite character from Dragon Ball, Lucas, Android 8.
Yes.
Android 8's the first robot that we see in Dragon Ball, and its main defining feature outside looking like Frankenstein is the same exact scars that Luffy has, that Garp has, that Crocodile has on their face. I call them doll stitching. Looks like when you stitch on a doll. And I think that in a lot of ways, well, I mean, Pinocchio's a doll. I think there's lots of human. You could consider an angel a doll almost if they're created for something else to use. I just think there's all sorts of weird things you can be playing with there. And the idea that some of these characters are, designed or created like dolls, but then there are other ones that are like wind-up robot toys, like Frankie, etc., that are doing stuff specifically for some purpose.
Okay, I'm gonna say this because Dan told me about this today. He was wondering, but actually, it does make sense. He's holding his sword with the opposite hand, right? Is it
Yeah.
just me, or it seems like he's missing an arm as well?
I think he's got this arm and he's bending it over to here and then holding it with his right hand here. Like that, like they're crossed, but instead of the one staying crossed in the elbow, it's holding the
Okay. Oh,
sword.
yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah. Arm crossed. Yeah, and just a position. Okay. Because it's
But
like.
it is a weird one where I wouldn't be surprised if we saw and he was missing like his hand, or maybe even he has a hook on his hand, like Crocodile, and we can't see it from this angle.
Oh, he has or he can have a metal arm. Think about it, an
Something
altered
like
arm,
that. Yep.
like Pizarro,
That
Alvaro
is where
Pizarro.
these two sun splitting insignia things are. So maybe it could be that arm is a magical golden arm or something crazy.
Good.
I'd be really interested to see. I mean, literally, even just one more of these God's Knights or Holy Knights or whatever, just to see if are they all gonna be Shanks's family, or are they all gonna be Frankie Robot? What if Frankie's? I know it's also about Battle Frankie 38 and all this stuff. What if he was just the 38th one that Figureland made?
I'm actually thinking. But
Because I do like the Mads idea stuff, but I think it's much bigger than Mads. I think it's the real, like, we've got Vegapunk doing all this stuff with light and doing all this stuff with holographs. Where's the faction? Well, I mean, we saw Sanji's dad or whatever, Vince Mo Judge doing it. But where's the faction that's creating artificial beings? That's literally trying to be God on Earth with angels. And where is this person? And maybe this guy, especially considering the first couple one shots for One Piece or whatever had that Crescent Moon bad guy with the beard. He had like Whitebeard's beard, but like nothing like the body type. I wonder if maybe all that's been in Oda's head to have these Crescent Moon type figure barber people are the other half of this like magical science equation of they're not creating food or creating things like Vegapunk is. They're creating they're all creating weapons in some form, but the most effective weapon is one that doesn't know what they're doing and is just going around the world trying to help prove someone else's dream or whatever and be used for whatever they want. And I think that Luffy and lots of characters might succumb to something like that, to where unbeknown to all of them they've been chosen to do all these other things biddings.
yeah, I just realized. I think if Garling has blue hair, people might connect to Frankie. But think about it.
Blue Moon.
Shanks also has a foster brother who has blue hair, Buggy. So don't
Good
forget
point.
Buggy. Who said what?
We don't know. Honestly, for all we know, and I think this would be very realistic, is that Buggy's actually the relation to Figureland, and that Shanks has just pretended to be. And they all have the blue hair like Buggy, and then he has red hair because he's the red Oni, the blue Oni, stuff like that. Exactly. In almost every single, it's a mean trope. I'm Irish. I grew up with red hair, and then it changed to be. Thank God, it changed to be like brown and blonde. But in many old stories, which is why I think Oda, his base symbolism starts with all that stuff, and then he adds his own things. One of the biggest ones is whenever someone's in shadow and they light a cigarette. That is from the 1920s until now. The smoking bad guy villain thing. Well, that's Ben Beckman in chapter 1. But another crazy one is if you were left-handed or if you had red hair, many cultures around the world would think you were evil or possessed or a devil child just from having red hair or being left-handed. So all of those things I think could be what he's playing with. Not that I think he's using it as a clue, but trying to say, hey, it's fucked up to think like that about anyone just because they have X, Y, and Z, they're bad or whatever. but I do think that he's used that with some clues or stuff like this. And with his hair, this guy does seem old, so it could all be white. But with it not having that halftone like Shanks's red hair does, really makes me think it might be blue like Buggy's.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
at least maybe a bluish tint like Frankie's, or his is like green, I guess. But
Also, just realizing both Frankie and Buggy have some similarities together. Both have abilities that alters their body in a way.
okay,
Both have something weird with their nose. But Frankie had this whole thing about his nose at the beginning. Frankie and Buggy stuff like that. Well, both their name finished by Y, but I don't think that, and the blue hair. So, and then both of them have something very important is they have the financial background, corrupt thing. Buggy having a benefactor for his evil thing, and literally Frankie was himself a benefactor for people with his mafia thing in Water 7. The more I think about it, there are some connections. I don't know. It could be thing like they might be even distant cousins or like from the same place.
true. And hey, we got another super chat from Oz the Phenom once again. Thank you so much, man, or woman, whatever.
Appreciate it, bro.
Y'all think Figureland got a Supreme Black Blade? And I wonder because this blade, it really makes me think mostly of the Watawi Chumanji.
Yeah, that's what I was also thinking about.
And I know Den had a great video about it having something or whatever spirits, and I totally think that Zoro and Shanks have some pretty crazy relations that we'll find out later in the story. But the idea that part of that is his white sword right here, I really am wondering what is its relation to Zoro's sword.
It looks like a royal sword, if that makes sense. Like it has the hilt with the handle over the what would go over your hand.
True. Yes, it does. It has the whatever finger guard hilt thing, whatever.
Yeah,
Which
the hilt guard or whatever
usually does too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
it goes with my head canon. I've been saying that. I think when we're gonna get the real spices, because I do still believe they're all for the voice entry. I think Zoro is the only one who wasn't allied with Luffy before the voice entry. I think he was more connected to the world government or a different faction. Because if you think about it, the beginning of the story, when he didn't know much about hockey, he naturally, when the fight was going on, he would always go the opposite direction. Like his body would not go in the same direction as like Garb's body went after Akainu after Ace was killed. Like he just every time Oda hints at him attacking brown-skinned people. I probably love people having jokes about Naruto Zoro, but if you think about it, we're getting a lot of lores. A lot of those Mediterranean type of tan seems to be Asian Kingdom, and Zoro's keep attacking those kind of stuff. And now that sword, it could be the originally, or at least where the sword comes from, the will of the sword could be like world government. It could be the sword. His sword, Wachijumonji, might have like a connection to the world government more than the Asian Kingdom.
True. I like that. Well,
yeah, because I've been saying
at this image more, it does look like he's surrounded in like smoke or steam. But on the top panel, it kind of makes me think like maybe the red line was made from a former moon.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
Or maybe even because it's red Mars, but a red moon. There's lots of old stories about us having two moons, a fire moon and an ice moon. So if the red line might have been the fire moon, and all that's left right now is the ice moon, maybe that could be something.
Okay, I might be crazy, or because I didn't do it on purpose. I'm on my phone. My phone almost dropped, and I was holding it. The hairstyle of Garling, if you do it sideways a bit from the right, it looks like a pterodactyl. The bird, the specific dinosaur that was King was, which is interesting.
I see them.
Didn't do that on purpose. I did something that even Adam didn't do on the stream. So.
Well, to me, it looks like a boat.
Ooh, yeah.
Its sails blowing, and that's from this angle, the part by his ears is like the boat part, and then this is like the sail blowing with the whatever. Or if you just put the whole, if you looked up, whatever, the whole thing being some sort of a just floating thing.
I won't even lie, guys. The only thing I see when I see this hair is Mac tonight from McDonald's. That is the only thing I see, is the moon-faced dude from McDonald's. Um, but I will say, to add to Cube's pterodactyl thing in King, the spikes on the side of his hair are very reminiscent of the spikes on the side of King's mask. Very, very reminiscent.
True.
But I like what Cube said. I think this was before the stream. Is that if you were to look at Garling from the front, he would look like a star with 4 points.
True.
Which he has the name Saint as well. So maybe the star motif, the star motif definitely ties in with the holiness as well, not just the gorosei.
True. Yeah, no, totally. And I know we get it. I know we get it with all these celestial dragons seem to be named Saint thing or whatever. But I wonder, because they all had what? Let's look. They all had like 4 or 5 names apiece. So 3 or 4 with the Saint, 3 with the Saint, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So everyone had like 3 or 4 names or whatever. I do wonder what that Ethan Baron V Nosturo means. I wonder if Nosturo means anything.
Like I said, I'm waiting for the official biz before I dive too much into those names. They're spicy, and I want to make sure I get it correct.
Yeah. Also, I'm gonna say this, Adam. Remember when you and I we agreed on one thing? Emu's ability, or a big part of her ability, is frequency. It works on frequency.
Yeah.
The fact that Emu said, use the word proximity, proves to one thing: her power becomes whatever they're using. I think they're sourcing with her abilities, and I think the closer you are, and I think that's why Marineford happened there for the war for Ace. I think that was the strongest place where Emu could interact in case something happens.
Okay.
It would make sense. It would be basically from Marijoa, Marineford at the time was the closest place. So if you look for an island, it's even closer to Sabaudi. That means that would have been the closest place, to even closer to Fishman Island, because Fishman is very deep. So I mean, if Emu had to do something in a war where she wanted people to be disappeared completely, Marineford is the perfect place. It's the one place she would do it. It'll be the strongest.
No,
I think that's what
I agree. I agree, and my crazy agreeing idea is because it's the one place she could assure to be able to make sure Luffy was safe or controlled.
Yeah. I'm starting to wonder in Marineford, that scene at the end before Kobe made his speech, when the young Marines were ready to give up, and the older ones just got up and said no. They start putting their swords and they say, "We've got to fight till the end," and they became a bit like bloodlusty. It was very weird even till this day. So it could be like maybe it's like Emu's influence, like they were thinking of giving up, and then suddenly they felt like their sense of justice became so strong. They said, "We would fight to the death. We won't let anyone escape." To a point that even the young Marines, they saw them as treasons.
True, and that's what. And honestly, that's part of I know Ivankov was there, whatever. But what I'm saying with Luffy as well was basically every time he could give up or get knocked out, something was there that would help him. Someone popped up to save him. I'm not saying she's in control of all of it, but if you put enough chess pieces on the board in the place you want, something will happen.
Yeah.
Plus, Garp was there. I know he gets indisposed of and stuff like that, but I do wonder if he maybe had an activation switch that if things really hit the fan.
Yeah. Well, what's his name? Braden King just hopped in. What's up? And he said, I think his name is Ethan Baron Venus Juro, because Venus is his name, and Juro is a Wano suffix. He's a Wano gorosei.
Okay, yeah, we were talking about the Venus stuff earlier. I did not know about the Juro being a Wano suffix, or not remember that.
Zoro, Joro, things like that.
Just to answer Oz's question.
Yes. I mean, he also has a sword too. I have thought he was from Wano with the sword cross and everything, but obviously no proof like what you just said. That's great.
What were you saying?
You just answer because Oz asked the second time the question. We don't know exactly when they took over. We just know that 800 years ago the government was founded. So the only headcanon we have about the Celestial Dragons taking over the Red Line would be 800 years ago, but we don't know exactly when.
Yeah.
Yeah, he asked to time the question.
Okay. But yeah, I don't think we know for sure or whatever, but except that the Saints at least seem to be around 200 years ago when they found that ship right before Skypiea.
Yeah.
Well, they were already at the Red Line when that robot attack too, and that was what 400 years ago, 300,
I think that was
200 years
around
ago.
200 as well.
200 years
200
ago.
as well. Okay.
Yeah, 200 seems to be when a lot of stuff happened. Was 200 years ago. Some with Fishman, some with that robot, some with that ship in Skypiea, and then 400 years ago, I think, was Nolan's flashback, and then 800 is the Void Century.
Yeah.
But 900 to 800, whatever, however you want to say it. I see that. I've also from Nasty One Ninja 808. I've been trying to share this around. Arthur calls the ancient kingdom the immense kingdom. This has me thinking differently about things. Well, in the officials, it's called great, which great meant, huge, giant. It also meant pregnant. So yeah, I think the immense kingdom, could be something, but I think he takes a lot of things too literal with the Japanese translations, and which I know coming from me sounds really crazy, but if you watch some of my videos, I think English is the main language, not Japanese, in the One Piece world. So those are the ones that are better to base, theories and letters and words on than it is the actual Japanese translations. But I will say and Lucas, I know we talked about a little bit the last stream. I don't think you were here. Just a little bit about that Mu Kingdom that you were talking about and stuff. And I know Buddy Flams found some stuff about this ancient kingdom of Mu. And I think that the big thing is Mu means void. And if you've read Berserk, which there is actually a chapter in Dressrosa called Gantz or Gutsu or whatever. But I think that there's a big idea here of what's happening with the God Hand in Berserk. And the idea that they're led in Berserk by a creature named Void, who who might have, very similar powers to what Emu has. But all of them meaning void and all that stuff, as well as the Void Century and all these things. I think Berserk might have more answers than Artur.
I can see that, man. It's weird too because with Emu calling themselves Mew, that's what gave me the idea. Because I have a guess about what their devil fruit is. I don't know if it can be true or not. Obviously, we don't have a lot of information on it. But I really think that it's some kind of void or null fruit, as in it consumes a void or null, Null. So it can absorb. Yeah, so it can absorb other fruits. It can mimic other fruits, but it itself is not a typical devil fruit, if that makes sense.
I like that.
So there's two questions of Oz and Brandon King, and the Oz one is interesting, and the Brandon King is crazy. That's a crazy foreshadowing on his end. So he was talking about he finds it very weird how Celestial Dragons allowed to be judged by a king who seemed to be a king on the level of King Rico. And if figuring out Celestial Dragons warrants they inbred too, which is interesting if you think about it. Why is it a difference between the different Celestial Dragons? But I'm gonna go straight to the bread and butter because I think we can answer both of those questions. Because Brandon King said another thing I'm curious about is Katerina Devon is known as a crescent moon hunter. Could be she was locked in Impel Down and erased because she was hunting down Emu / Figurant / Celestial Dragons.
Yes.
Ooh, yes.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Brandon King, and I'll shout you out in the video over the weekend for that one. But yeah, I definitely think that is something that we would have gotten in trouble for.
And to bring back why
are the Celestial Dragons inbred? Because
look at them.
I would think that they would. Well, I would think they would use their slaves to breed. If I'm being honest, which I know that probably wouldn't work ergonomically, but
most royals in Europe married between same families. Then they branched it out to other countries. Around the Louis XIV, 13, they started going to other families. But if you think about it, before they went into their kingdoms. And when they made the rounds, then they started looking for last. Yeah.
Nasty Ninja said Charlos took a wife in Shabayoti. He had 13 wives, so definitely no inbreeding. So they're going to other kingdoms to get wives.
Well,
So
definitely now. Yeah, definitely now. I think that
yeah,
the lesser houses like Charlos and everything, they don't care what they're doing. It would be the people like the gorosei or these figurlins or whatever who would be keeping the bloodline pure in their eyes with inbreeding,
Mhm.
which is actually a thing. If you
Yeah.
look at like a bunch of old kings and queens of Britain, they have this thing. I forget what it's called, something chin, where it's like a very kind
the
of weird
Habsburg
shape.
jaw.
A what?
It's the Habsburg jaw is what
Yes,
they're talking.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the main signs of inbreeding between all these kings and queens.
Oh yeah.
So I have to think he's going to reference that at some point. And even here we get the crazy beard mustache or beard stuff with the how long it is. I do wonder if it all might be symbolism to that idea of the Habsburg jaw and this idea of inbreeding.
Yeah, for me, this is how I can see it. If it has to go any European lore, I think for sure the most important side of the family, I think they're like mostly pure blooded because I'm also reading Bradham King's comment, literally saying the same thing as me, and he said something even better than me. He says, I don't see them, breeding among other people if they don't even want to breathe the same air as regular people. And that's a good point.
Hmm.
They're very selective.
True.
This is my thing. I do think that some of the celestial dragons, like the holy knights, might not have done like the inbred between themselves, but inbred amongst like cousins of the other kingdoms. Like they go back to Dressrosa, like the flamingo left Dressrosa. Most like when they got married, they always went to look for a woman in Dressrosa who have a king link lineage, so they would still be kings from their homeland. Maybe that's how think about Stelly. Stelly was adopted where he was brought up, and there was somebody from Groa Kingdom. It could be a high, noble man from the Groa Kingdom who became, or they took his kid. So I think they could be choosing from the specific kingdom, but not 100% inbred, but still considered as inbred for them, because they're from a lineage
or
that's still pure.
even just straight up trying to get kingdoms of the first 20.
Yeah. So it could be that, because if they were from a certain kingdom, it would still be considered breeding if inbred. If they would go back to that kingdom and find the descendant of the kingdom when they were all one together. You know what I mean? In their eyes, it would be the same blood.
Which is technically what Luffy's been doing the whole story.
Can you go more about that?
Luffy has literally become allies with or straight up joined with the prettiest and most fairest princess in every single arc he's been to.
Yeah, okay. Because since I was...
And going all the way to Yamato right now, and even Juribani on Egghead. He always, I know it's not about romance with him. He doesn't do anything with romance, but they all are either saved. The classic fairy tale damsel in distress type thing, where whatever form of freedom it is they take or are able to achieve, they do it usually based on Luffy's actions, whether he directly helps or just inspires them to do it themselves, whatever it is. But Rebecca the princess, Vivi the princess, Robin the princess of Bar K Works, Nami the princess of East Blue. I mean, they're not literal, but when we look at these characters and their importance to the story, you can view them very the same as a princess. And for a number for 500 chapters, all the women look the same. So I really think that he's kind of been playing with that idea of, he's Aladdin, he's Prince Charming, and he's doing some force in the world. It wants these things, whether it's to marry all the princesses, start a new grand family, immense family, whatever. They're using maybe Luffy to get all these things ready for them, not knowingly.
Okay, I was just checking something. Not all of them, but I was thinking maybe there's an initial storyline where Joy Boy held the princess, but he failed, right? And I was thinking of all the people, and then someone made a joke about Momo being the top one princess, and I realized something. Nami, Vivi, Momo. What is the one thing they have in common? Not all of them, but those one have something in common. And I believe that he called Shiroshi Shira, like a 4-letter nickname. 4-letter
Okay.
nickname. Maybe the initial princess that he helped but failed was Lily.
Mm.
True.
Lily could be the princess that he felt helping out, and she looked help elsewhere. Emu, and then
Ooh.
regretted it. And regretted it. Her decision. I could explain because I said I think the message of Joy Boy and the letter left by Lily, it will connect in different ways. I think Joy Boy failed, and Lily regretted. That's why he apologized. He felt on something like it's his fault. He didn't take account of certain stuff, and I could see Lily's letter being more. She feels bad, stuff like that. You don't do all of that unless if you're like all her effect, how she fucked over Emu. I'm pretty sure that Emu was in checkmate. He was about to win, but Lily fucked over in one night with the polygamy thing. You cannot do that unless you're in deep with that person with all the polygraph stuff. Being
True.
upset over 800 years, and literally because of Lily, he's saying that all of this is Lily's actions literally caused Emu to be patiently for 800 years. That's big. So it could be a thing that Lily was basically chose Emu over Joy Boy and regretted it.
I think there's lots of stuff going on with that. I'm not really ready to say anything, direct or any of that stuff. But I think that's a good idea that it could be something with, those three and what exactly their relationships were, or something. Because I kind of personally believe that Emu might be the original Poseidon.
Really?
And, yeah, and that the way that literally the whole entire world functions based on the sea dragons, or the sea kings or whatever. And
Yes.
I know their placement has story reasons and all these things, but if you're the creator, you can easily make those reasons into the world you're living in and use them as a sort of fence or guide or racetrack edges to keep whatever you want to be seeing, keep it in view on the Grand Line. So I think that she's got. I wouldn't even be surprised if she was something with all the ancient weapons and she just can't use them, like the classical Sauron type bad guy where they're trying to unlock their full power. Could be something like that.
Okay, this is my thing about Emu. Like I said, that's why I was against the whole Uranus thing. I think whatever Emu has in her arsenal, like her, should not be known, right? But that's why I've been saying if there's an ancient weapon lore of Emu, what if every time, think about it, every time we think there's always 3 or 4 factions, there's always a 5th one, a 6th one, you know what I mean? There's always an extra thing missing. What if Emu is the one ancient weapon nobody knows about? She's a different ancient weapon. It would explain some of her abilities, stuff like that. It could be fate that most likely whatever ancient weapon she's supposed to represent, she can represent nature or literally whatever started devil fruits. Hence why she can have a certain effect on it. Because the sea kings, the Poseidon affects the sea creatures. Earth creatures supposed to be connected by Pluton, ships at least, most likely. Uranus, the sky, right? But what handles nature, which fruits are heavily nature-like? It could be that Emu's ability is more like connect to nature itself. And maybe that's what they call the sea mother, because Mother Nature. Except in our world, One Piece, the sea is seen as nature itself.
Yeah.
So what they call sea could actually be nature itself, and Emu could represent Mother Nature.
Could
A
be
perverse
that,
version of it.
space or stars, stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, space could be very interesting as well. Yeah.
Well, and that's so here's something crazy. So everything we've been talking about, this gets encapsulated a little bit with this idea of creating artificial humans. So the two most ancient weapons that we know, the two most recent, or at least had to have something going on, Momo and Shirahoshi, okay? Both are living beings. So if there was something put in the bloodline or genetically created or whatever, I wonder if the older ancient weapons were actually machines and that only one person or something could use them, and that maybe that person's Emu, or maybe that person was Joy Boy or something. And then the ancient weapons, like everything else, keep evolving. And now instead of being weapons that are encased in, an actual vehicle or a ship or whatever it is, that nowadays they're in actual living things because that's what this dream world is best at, making people do stuff for reasons that they consider a dream, whether that's good or bad, right or wrong. That definition or motivation makes anyone in this world do anything. So if you wanted a weapon to destroy a certain thing and you've been trying it one way, well, maybe the better way is to make this person's dream getting rid of that thing, and they just don't know they're a weapon. And stuff like that with the devil fruits, that literally happens to every single person who eats a devil fruit. It happens to Luffy. But this idea that whether it's usually through dreams, which is the easiest way to catch anything. If you ever do demon stuff and you use a dream catcher, it's literally the easiest way to catch any sort of spirit or stuff like that, supposedly. And I think that this world, this One Piece world, has done that in a very sinister way, where this void person can literally fill that void in your life, and that void is filled by a burning desire to accomplish something. And whatever that something is ultimately some goal somewhere that the world government or Emu or even higher up, or even if there's a god, hidden in the whole world, whatever, the way they're getting these created beings and these new vehicles and weapons to do things is based on their own motivations following dreams, which I'm assuming at some point in the past, Emu or someone else realized how strong dreams are because they lost to, Joy Boy or something, and they realized how powerful a dream can be, and they've now since taken that over as the main fuel for the entire world.
Hey guys, I sadly have to go. I need to go help with the kids.
Oh, you're
I just
fine.
wanna say-
We've been on for like 2 hours. Honestly, we should just wrap this up.
Yeah.
But I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. Cube and Adam,
appreciate
cooking
you,
as always. And I will see you guys next time.
See you,
See you
man.
next time, bro.
See you on, Lucas, of course, is a member of the pirate crew in the D&D on Fridays in our group of the Smiling Line Pirates. And we will be on this Friday at 3 o'clock with a new episode for all that D&D stuff with Fang and Aaron and Hachinosuke, all that stuff. So tune in. We will be having it this Friday. And then also this Saturday, we will be doing a tier ranking for the Full Metal Alchemist series. The Brotherhood anime, but the Full Metal Alchemist manga, whichever one.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we'll be doing that this Friday. Probably at like 1. I think we'll know for sure on Friday what time we're going to do it. And we will let you all know on the stream on Friday about D&D.
Edward.
Okay. Before, because since we're gonna wrap this up, I do want to answer it because it was a mini monologue and I was not able to answer to it
Oh, you're fine.
about the ancient weapons. I think being the guardians like that, I think they started naturally. But I'll say this: I think the fact that Pluton was introduced by what's called by Frankie. There's this thing. It's a ship, but it's also living. I think it's the first cyborg. Pluton is the first cyborg.
Probably. I always think it's like I've kind of thought the super stupid route of Pluton put on, and it might be a mecha suit you put on.
Yeah, my whole thing is whatever Pluton was, it wasn't the best to. You know how you can take a horse, but you need a saddle because or else it's very rough, or a camel, those same thing.
Yeah.
I think whatever Pluton is supposed to be, it was impossible to carry a lot of people. Like it was too dangerous, especially for or whatever. And I think and I think from Pluton, that's where they got the idea for the Iron Giant, all of it. I think Pluton could have been it could have been the blueprint. Literally, Pluton is a blueprint of cyborg stuff.
Okay. I like that.
Parallel to what they said in Annie's lobby, blueprint of Pluton. Pluton was in the past was the blueprint of cyborg, and now what they have a blueprint of Pluton. So I do think there might be something to it. But again, I'm just saying like more cyber, like not complete robot, because the fact that it's sleeping proves that there's something live about it. Literally.
True. That's very true. I always kind of think of it as like it might be some sort of a warship that's powered on worship or something crazy like that. My biggest thing is it's in the cover to this newest chapter is the umbrellas or parasails. if you guys read the volumes and have the volumes or whatever, look around to the main times that we see Shanks and what exactly his design motif seems to be with what everything in his crew is hiding under or taking shade under. For the majority of the times we see him, honestly. But I think there's something crazy going on with umbrellas. Pluton, like one of the definitions of plu can be to open. So to open the umbrella, weird stuff like that. Where I've wondered if it's something like Mary Poppins like, or Baba Yaga like, and it's something
There,
like that.
there's something also very interesting that in the cover story, no rain equals no raindrop, no rainbow. But what happens to the bow? You know what I mean? They said no, there's no rain, there's no rainbow, right? But what happens to the bow, to the rainbow? And then when it makes me think of especially Alabasta arc, how they're the price of rain, you know? And
True.
what
Well,
happened
and
the
also,
country.
looking at the cover, I mean, if the rainbows, the dreams are trapped in the puddles.
Exactly. And you know what happens when there's lack of rain, especially
What?
in any city, any country?
A
You know, the
drought?
first thing that gets destroyed, drought, what happens? Famine, bow. I think it isn't bow, rainbow. I think it's to bow. No rain, you bow to Emu. They
Ah,
deprive them of their resources, so they bow to Emu. I think that's how the Celestial Dragon, or at least if I believe they were put into a sort of, they were the first memory swap thing. They lost and they made them think that they were people from space or whatever. I think that's why they're just so odd, the Celestial Dragons. But it could also be that they joined because they were lack of resources because of Emu. So they bowed
okay.
to
No,
Emu.
yeah, no, yeah. I like that. I
They bend
like
the
that.
knee. Like Khaleesi, they bend the knee to Khaleesi, literally.
Yeah, yeah. That's what it was making me think of too. Like if you want to be allowed in Wizard of Oz, if you want to taste the rainbow, whatever, you have to bow down to the wizard, and that's Emu, whatever. But no, I like that a lot, and honestly, I'll have to hit you up honestly before I'm trying to do a Sunday video for this newest chapter because with this break week, I think everyone's gonna be rushing to try to do more content than ever. So I think everyone watching the stream right now, you can kind of look and make sure you're subscribed to all of our channels because I think we'll all
Yeah.
have stuff coming out this week or the
And
next 5
also,
weeks.
anyway, also guys, pull up on our Discord because since it's the 4 or 5 weeks, I'll be doing some VC sessions, stuff like that, trying to find some nice talks with people, sharing some theories or even like One Piece talks. We might even do some reaction or some stuff, so trying to see what we can do to keep each other busy during those 4 or 5 weeks. So you guys should pull up on the Discord. We'll be very active in the Discord.
Yes, as always. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's I'm good, wrapped up or whatever. If there's anything else you want to say, promo wise or anything like that.
Honestly, no. I'll be dropping some stuff on the Discord. I have a theory videos, but just editors editing stuff. So don't know when exactly it's gonna come out my stuff, but just keep an eye out. And yeah, and guys, come on Saturday. It'll be a great stream.
Yes,
Like the
definitely.
Naruto one, like the Dragon Ball one. It changes the
Yep.
vibe completely. So guys, pull up. Even if you've never followed the Full Metal Alchemist, it'll be great fun because you'll see the banter between one another.
Yeah,
Fighting for our favorite arc.
Check it out if none of the other positive reviews and stuff of it have so far.
I'm all about brotherhood.
I honestly, I watched the first one as a kid too, and the ending kind of sucks. But I watched the first series before too. That made me start reading the manga, and then I literally read the manga till it ended, from like 2003 or 4 until I think it ended in like either 10 or 11 or 12, something like that. That was a long
Yeah,
one.
it
I
was.
was reading that one forever.
Yeah, it was like end 2009. Why? Because I remember when I was waiting for the end of Lost, a friend of mine was sad for the end of Full Metal.
You know what? And I actually remember. I think you know what? I actually think it might have aired on the final season of Lost. Was when the
Yeah.
ending chapter came out because I remember having both of them. So yeah, it was then.
Yeah, it was then around the same time. So 2009, 2010.
Okay,
Most likely.
okay.
Lost ended. Last year, Lost was between 2009, 2010. 2010 being summer 2010.
Well, that's what
Around
we're gonna have to do eventually is just the Lost tier ranking.
Oh
That
no.
would be a
You guys will be on here for 10 hours.
If we're lucky, it'll only be 10 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, something like that for the far future when we're not everything's anime based or whatever. But yeah, no, I'm Anton Mackay. I'll talk to you on the stream, the D&D stream on Friday at 3. And then if I don't see you there, hopefully we see everyone in the chat and everything coming up strong on Saturday. And thank you everyone in the chat for joining the super chats. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cuddy Flam. Your great comments. Thank you, Brandon King, huge ones, as well as the nasty one Ninja. And then a big special shout out, thank you to the Oz D Phenom for all the generous donations. Thank you so much, man. Oh, woman, if I'm saying what wrong one, just let me know. But very sweet. And maybe
Oz is the guy. Don't worry. Oz is the guy. Don't worry.
Okay, and maybe you like some of our ending
Legends.
series stuff with the Wizard of Oz and everything with the rainbows. But with that, I think we're gonna call it a day here, and we'll definitely be looking for the Discord for because we don't need to do a stream on Wednesday if there's no chatter coming out. We could do something on Tuesday or Monday, whatever it is. I know Lucas was talking about earlier. We're definitely going to be doing a live stream reaction. I think it'll be on on a Saturday, but when that comes out, we'll definitely do something streaming wise for that one. So just the best way to keep involved with all that stuff is join the Discord.
Also, I'm just gonna give a call out, but in case you're not here, I'll ask Adam after the stream. Caddy Fam, hit me up. I'll try to hit you up on Discord, or you hit me up. I have some stuff I'm working on, and you might have some of the stuff you're talking the hits on it. So.
Yeah, he's a great friend and resource. So he knows a lot about a lot. So he's always good to talk to.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, then, I guess that's gonna do it for us. And thank you all for joining. And we will talk to you